Over the years, my YouTube channel has attracted a pretty broad audience with many different interests and concerns and these sorts of things. And one of the main segments of my YouTube audience are people that I would describe as being skeptical. And if you are a skeptical person, then I think you're going to enjoy the John the Bon Discord server, because at the end of this video I'm going to invite you to join us. But before I do that, it's important that I explain that this Discord server might not be suited to you. It depends on you as a person and what it is that you're looking for, how you spend your time and the kind of people you want to be around. My Discord server, just like any Discord server, it's not going to be suited to everybody. So it's important that before you click the invite link, you understand what you're getting yourself in for. Now, before I tell you more, I need to share with you the fable of the fish in the water. And I'm sure you've heard this one before, but the basic story is that you've got the two young fish just swimming along, talking about video games or whatever young people talk about these days. Yeah, man, I totally maxed up a level in a video game and stuff. And this one's saying, oh yeah, I totally love that video game and I love reality TV and stuff as well. And this one's like, yeah man, I love reality TV and video games and Monster energy drinks and stuff. So they're just talking whatever stuff young people talk about these days. Anyway, as they're swimming along, this older fish swims past them and says, hey boys, how about this water today? What a beautiful day. And he keeps on swimming along. And the two younger punk fish are like, sure thing, Pops. And they just keep on swimming along. So he's swimming this way, they're swimming that way. Anyway, once the two younger fish get out of earshot, one of the little younger fish says to the other younger fish, hey man, what's old grandpa talking about? Water. What's water? And of course, the point of the fable is that when we are surrounded by a certain environment, we might not even know that we're in that environment. So does a fish actually know that it's in water? Well, obviously I don't know what a fish knows. We don't know what a fish knows. But the point of the fable is just to explore this idea that when we're surrounded by something, it almost becomes part of us. We don't realize that we're in a certain environment. So the young fish don't realize they're in water. And I'm going to suggest to you that us as people, it's easy for us to find ourselves in environments that we don't realize it's having an effect on us. So these little fish, they can swim up, they can swim down, they can breathe in water somehow. It's all dependent on the water, but the water is so much a part of their existence that they don't even know that they're in water. And how many of us, if we're being honest, know of times when we've been influenced by our environment, but it wasn't until we looked back at where we were and we realized, hold on man, I was heavily influenced by the environment that I was in. Whether it was the friends that we were hanging around or the social group at school or the colleagues in the lunchroom at work or whatever the case, family is a big one. It's not until we were away from it that we realize just how much of an effect it had on us. At the time, we didn't realize that we were being affected, but subsequently we realized, hold on, I was completely being influenced by the environment that was around me, but I was oblivious to it at the time. Now, like I said, a lot of you have heard of this fable before, and you're probably wondering, well, Joby, what's the point here, man? Get to the point. All right, I'm going to suggest to you that the conspiracy culture, the broader conspiracy culture, one of the big things that it does to people is that it depresses them on a subconscious level. That is, they're not aware of the fact that they have become pessimistic about themselves, about the world, about the future. They're not aware of the fact that they've stopped hoping for and working towards a better future for themselves and for those around them. They don't realize that they've basically become spiritually paralyzed. They think that they're learning and that they're growing and that they're getting wiser. And in some instances, to an extent, this is the case, to an extent. But overall, they've stagnated as people because they've become convinced that they live in a bad time to be alive, that there is a power structure that is trying to kill them or to poison them or these sorts of things, that things are going to get worse, that the future's going to be bad. There might even be a world war in the future or an economic collapse or any of these things. Because a lot of people have been in this scene for a long time, they don't realize that once upon a time they actually did look forward to the future. They were working towards the future. They were saving money for a plan that they had to do something, or they were putting time and effort into eating properly and exercising and trying to create a better physical version of themselves in the future. Or they had ideas, creative ideas that they were working towards, or they were trying to learn new talents or any of these things. Before they realise it, they've been in this scene for a few years and they've basically stagnated as people. And I'm suggesting to you that one of the reasons for that is because when we're surrounded by people who are pessimistic, who are negative, who maybe haven't achieved much with their lives, whether or not they can see that, when we're surrounded by these kind of people, it has an effect on us, no matter how smart we think we are. Certainly, I think that was my experience in this scene. I didn't realize just how negative I'd become because the very small percentage of people who were talking about things that I'm interested in, such as media fakery, cultural Marxism, these sorts of topics, I didn't realize it, but these people were by and large very negative and pessimistic. Now, of course, a lot of these people at the end of their videos or at the end of their podcasts, they'll spend 2 or 3 minutes saying nonsense like, oh, but we're going to win, we're going to, so they would give their listeners or viewers an hour, 2 hours of pessimistic doom porn nonsense, but they'd give the last couple of minutes, they'd give like a pep talk so that people would tune in again next week, basically. And over and over and over this cycle goes, it repeats time and time again. So after a few months, a few years, some people have been here for several years, they don't realize just how much negative content they've consumed. They don't realize what effect it's had on them. So my question to you is, are you still working towards a better future? Like right now in your mind, if you close your eyes and think about it, how do you imagine yourself in the future? Do you imagine yourself achieving something, honestly? Do you see yourself getting good at a certain skill or a certain hobby and doing so well with it that maybe you can even monetize it? Do you imagine yourself getting good at an instrument and playing it for people? Or at a language and going to another country and speaking that language of the locals? Do you imagine yourself getting fitter and stronger or more financially? Do you imagine any of these things? Do you imagine a future where you're better off than you are today? I'm going to suggest to you that a lot of the people in the ACT realm, no, they don't. And even the ones who do are not actually working towards it. It's just this bullshit notion they've got in their head, their own little Shell Beach, as we call it on my website. Shell Beach from Dark City. Everyone knows where it is, but no one's been there. They've all got these fantasies, but they're not working towards anything. The reason they're not working towards anything is because they've given up on the future, because they've been convinced that the future's a bad place. So why work towards anything today when the future's so bad? They don't realize that's what's happened, but that's what's happened. With all of that said, I want to share with you some comments that were recently left on the johnthebond.com Discord server. And I could have left the names of the people who left these comments, but even though I'm sure they wouldn't care if I mentioned their names, I thought I would just read these out anonymously. But the people who left these comments, they know who they are, and a huge thanks to every one of them. The first comment says, those subjects are among my favourites as well, but I've been reluctant to really talk about them, especially technology. However, my perspective on that has completely changed since becoming a JLB member. It's hard to articulate just how much the experiences I've had here with and listening to my fellow members has rejuvenated my naturally optimistic outlook. It may sound cliche, but getting to interact with people who aren't completely consumed by gloom is encouraging beyond belief. Another comment from a different person says, I've had visions of potential futures recently, and that I fully realize it's all in my hands. I can do anything if I really want it. It's all my responsibility. I truly believe now that when we take serious action towards a milestone or big goal, synchronicities start to become common. The force comes into our lives. So grateful to be part of this group. And finally, the third comment that I wanted to read out here. JLB was the first voice I heard put out there that maybe all these people and things we're told are evil are just people and things and can be interpreted however you want. The way we interpret them will have a direct impact on our lives, i.e., if we think they're bad or evil, they will have a negative impact on our lives. On the contrary, when we begin to see things in a more value-neutral, i.e., how can this benefit me, we begin to see what this realm truly has to offer. Now, the way that I've interpreted all three of these comments, and again, they're from three different people on the JLB Discord server. These were all taken straight from the text chat of the Discord server. These are three individuals who maybe in the past allowed themselves to see certain things about this world as inherently negative, and they allowed it to affect their lives. And I can relate to that because I used to do the exact same thing. So what I'm encouraging on my Discord server now is for people to look at the world the way it is, be honest about how it really is, and then ask themselves, what are they going to do with their lives now that they have this information? And what they're not welcome to do on my server is to sit around and complain and feel like victims, because victim mentalities are for losers, and I used to be surrounded by losers, and I therefore became a loser, and that's not my natural state. My natural state is to get things done, to improve my life, constant improvement, constantly trying to be a better version of myself. The future me will be better than this current version of me. This current version of me, better than the past version of me. On and on and on it goes. And I'm only 31 years old, so the future for me is looking very bright. And I think the future looks bright for anybody who wants to have that perspective. So, if you are someone who has the perspective that all of the bad things in the world are so horrible and the future's bad and you're a victim and there's nothing you can do and oh poor me, oh boo-hoo-hoo, then stay away from my Discord server, please. Stay the hell away. I don't want you there. You're not welcome there. I don't want your money. You can get lost. You can hang out with the rest of the conspiracy culture where people sit around feeling like victims till the cows come home. You can do it for the next year, 5 years, 10 years. People sitting around saying, oh, there's going to be a collapse, or oh, they're going to censor us and put us in jail, and all this crap that they've been saying for years. It hasn't happened, isn't going to happen, a load of nonsense. You can hang out with those people. What I'm looking for are the people who think to themselves, you know what? What kind of environment have I been in lately? What kind of content have I been consuming? Have I been consuming content that is uplifting, motivating, from people who are clearly doing something with their lives? Have I been doing that? Or have I been listening to and watching content from losers blaming external sources for their situation and bringing me down to their level? What content have you been consuming lately? What people have you been hanging out with lately? If you want to keep hanging out with losers and victim mentalities, stay in the conspiracy culture, stay in the ACT realm, the alternative conspiracy truth realm, the broader truth realm. Stay there with those people. These losers and victim mentality people, stay with them. That's where you belong. If, on the other hand, you want to hang out with people who are taking responsibility for themselves, people who understand that their place in this world is entirely up to them and that nothing will stop you if you have a plan and you work towards it, if you want to hang out with those kind of people, then you should come and join the johnthebond.com Discord server, and you're welcome to do so. If you come along and join the johnthebond.com Discord server, what you'll also have access to is all of the exclusive content that I've released only to the full members of johnthebond.com. And very quickly, at the moment, there's about 65 written pieces, 60 videos totaling about 40 hours, and no less than 35 podcasts at about 70 hours. So there's more than 110 hours worth of video and podcast content that is not available to the YouTube audience. It is only available to members of johnthebond.com, as is the Discord server. So members of johnthebond.com get the 110 hours of exclusive content instantly. That's the entire archive. You get your name in the supporters section of the website, which is up here, as you can see. You get a mention in the credits of all of the podcasts and videos that mention the credits at the end. And of course, you get access to the Discord server, where you will find people who are sitting around encouraging each other to improve their lives and to not see themselves as victims, rather than what you get with the rest of the conspiracy culture, which is a whole bunch of people who want to blame external boogeymen for all of their problems because ultimately they've given up. Now you might be wondering, how much does it cost to join johnthebond.com? Well, it's $20 Australian per month if you sign up as a foundation member, which is closing soon. Now at the moment that works out to be less than $15 per month based on the current exchange rate. And it's been that way for a long time now. I don't know why the Australian dollar is so weak. That's the case. So if you're in America, that works out good for you. It works out to less than $15. So the question is, are you willing to spend 50 cents per day to be around positive people who know that the media is lying, positive people who know full well that the education system does not exist to make you more intelligent, people who know full well that the so-called government and politics is of course a joke, people who know all of this but don't sit around feeling sorry for themselves and instead encourage one another to improve their own lives? Is that worth 50 cents a day to you? That's a question that you have to arrive at an answer for yourself. A lot of people will say no. They'll say, JLB, stuff you, man. Stuff you. We can get a whole ton of free content swimming around in toxic sludge spiritual, psychological sludge, listening to people tell us how bad the future is, depressing us, demotivating us, doing nothing with their own lives. We can get all of that for free. So stuff you and stuff your website for 50 US cents a day. We've got other stuff that's free and we'd rather that. And if that's your attitude, then I say that's fine. I'm not going to try and change your mind. You will get what you deserve. And that's one of my central philosophies. We all get what we deserve. Those of us who work towards something and improve our lives, we'll get what we deserve. Those who want to sit around and feel like victims, they're already getting what they deserve. And it's not a life that I would wish upon any good person. So that'll do us for today on the 7th of November, 2018. Check the links in the info box below. But for now, John the Bond signing off. And until next time, you guys take care of yourselves.